You a boss, I'm a boss too. Little baby, when I pull it, what you gon' do? No L's, all dubs, what I'm used to. Quick, can't get this bag, just me.
Hey you guys, I just wanted to make a disclaimer. This video was pre-filmed before all the horrible things that have been going on in the world. I do want to say for every video I will be linking down below a place where you can donate for the BLM movement. I'm just as distraught as the whole world. You know, what's going on is not just now. It's something that's been going on in front of our eyes for way too long. And I honestly am praying that this time around, with everybody just uniting, we can actually make a change. It's necessary. With that being said, I don't want anybody to find it disrespectful if you guys see me posting content. This is just my way to, this is like my stress reliever, you know? This is what I do on the day-to-day. This is what I love to do. Please just know that I will keep posting content, and don't think that I'm disregarding what's going on. You guys can follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna keep posting useful information that I find on there. And yes, like I said, in the link down below, you guys can donate. This is a place that I found that is a good and reliable place to donate. I do want to mention, I have seen a lot going around that, you know, some of these websites are scams, and I want you guys to be careful. For sure, please donate. If you have the means, please donate. It all counts. But I do want you guys to be donating to places that are actually going to be using the money for what they say they are, because a lot of these other like little websites are scams. So if you guys trust me, then you guys can use the link down below, because that's where I will be donating periodically to that organization. And with that being said, let's continue with the video. I hope you guys are staying safe. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing a video that I did not think we would do so early on. It's something I thought we would do maybe towards the end of the year, and it's our debt free by 23 video. I'm actually only 22, but I mean, it sounds cool that way. We want to first share the journey on how we got into debt, major debt, how we managed to live with the debt and get through the debt, and now how we were able to pay off the rest of the debt that we had. Oh my god, ¿tú te acuerdas cuánto debíamos al principio?
Yo creo que más de $13,000.
Let's just do an estimate. I don't even have the actual numbers. I don't even want to remember. We were at least $11,600 in debt. I'm shocked. Because yesterday we were paying off our final bills. I actually still have one more bill to pay off, but that's only because the recent bill I have, which is like $400, it hasn't posted yet. If not, I would have paid it off in full. But once it posts, I thankfully have the $400 to pay it off in full, and that's it. We're debt free. And of course, this is when I say debt, I'm talking about interest rates. I do still own part of my student loan, which is my next step, tackle my student loan. And he owes part of his course. So his course, they allow him to pay weekly. So yeah, I mean, that's not anything that's accruing interest. And of course, we owe people who have helped us in like our deepest times, and that is not interest. It's just like close people to us. It's only 2 people that we owe, yeah. But that's literally the next step. The way we started this whole journey, I do want to shout out my friend Anna, ¿cierto? Anna nos motivó. Yeah, so
We estábamos malísimos.
yeah, pero it's crazy to talk about, guys, because it was only last year that we were still like, okay, we got into these debts, I would say 2.5 years ago, but we had already in our head said, you know what, like, we're paying the minimum payments. Like, we had just accepted the fact that we were in debt. We were literally only making minimum payments. We weren't even making at least a little more. Like, we were just paying everything. And, you know, in the statement itself, it tells you if you only make the minimum payment, you'll be in debt for 5 years, 7 years, 3 years, you know. So we had discussed it, and I had told him, you know, like, you realize we're gonna be in debt for a while. And we kind of had accepted it, which if you're watching this, please don't accept it in your brain. Don't say like, oh, whatever, like, I got myself in this hole and that's it, like, I just have to deal with it. No, You have to do everything in your power to get yourself out of that hole. You really could. And so I do want to shout out my friend Anna. She had a YouTube channel. I don't know if she deleted it, so hopefully once she has her YouTube channel again, I will link it down below, because she does talk a lot about finances, and that's just something that's her passion. Me and Anna started speaking about financial stuff last year. I would say around probably like September of last year. It was later in the year, and she just really motivated me to really tackle it. You know, she tells me, like, tackle your debt, like, just everything you could to minimize that debt, you have to. She of course did give me certain information which I want to give you guys. So Dave Ramsey, you guys have to search him up. You really have to get on his 7 steps, which is what we're doing. Dave Ramsey's baby steps, guys. I'll be touching bases upon it in this video, but for sure do your own research after you watch this video. So baby step number 1 for Dave Ramsey is have your emergency fund. Me and my friend call it our cushion. Why? Because if you're already in debt and you don't have an emergency fund, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take out another credit card during an emergency and get yourself even more in debt. So Dave Ramsey recommends for you guys to have $1,000 in that cushion. That is the number 1 step. Make sure you have $1,000 separated, not in your checkings, just separated for any emergencies. Your car broke down, okay, you can take from that emergency fund. Your child is sick and for some reason you don't have health insurance, take from that emergency fund. You got laid off, take from that emergency fund. But always when you take, make sure that you're working towards putting it back, because you should always have 1,000 as a cushion. So thankfully we are done with step number 1, and so we tackled step number 2, which, guys, this is the step that will be a little bit, it'll take longer. Step number 2 is actually pay off debt. And so you pay off debt using either the snowball method or the avalanche method. And I personally did the avalanche because it made more sense to me. So the snowball is basically you take the debt that you owe less in. Let's say you have 5 credit cards, and in one you owe 500, the other 2,000, 3,000. So you take the 500 one and you tackle that one. And so it's kind of more psychological. Once you pay off those 500, you minimize one credit card that you owed, and it's just better for you. It's kind of like a psychological thing. You feel that satisfaction, so you keep going. And so it's a snowball effect, because little by little you're gonna tackle each card one by one, of course, while you're still making the minimum payments on all the other ones, but you're trying to make more of the payments in that one card that you're tackling. So the snowball effect tackles the one that you'll least, so you can get rid of that one and go on to the next one. However, I did the avalanche effect, the avalanche method, which was you tackle the one where you're paying most interest in. So a lot of the time it'll be the card that you owe most in, or just the card that has a crazy amount of interest. You have to really look at your statements. And what I did is I looked at all my statements and looked at which one I'm losing most money in. So I remember there was one card I was losing like $40 each month. And I say losing because, guys, realize please that interest is literally like, it's the worst. It's what makes you not be able to pay off like within a reasonable amount of time, because you are literally burning your money away. When they charge you $40 interest, those $40 you will never see again. Your bill's not going down, they're just charging you extra because they lent you money. When I realized that that one card I was like every month getting charged like $40, I tackled that card. I was able to tackle that card, and then I went on to the next one. With the avalanche method, that is what you do. You have to, oh yeah, me too. You have to tackle the one that you're basically losing the most money with. So after I tackled the card that I was losing $40 interest in, it was like a breath of fresh air, because every month I knew I wasn't losing those $40. And what you were paying the minimum on that card, you're able to use it for your next card. So let's say my minimum for that card was $30. Now that I'm done with that card, those same $30 that I would have still had to use if I wasn't done paying off that card, now I'm putting it towards my next card. So yeah, these are just methods. I hope that made sense, guys. But those are just methods that you can use to pay off your debt. So it's 7 baby steps. The other ones I'll just go over. I'll just tell you what they are, but I'm not even up to any other ones. So thankfully we are done with baby step number 2 in like I don't think it's hit us yet, because if not, we would have been bawling crying. But we are done with baby step number 2. So next step is baby step number 3 after you're done with your debt, and that is 3 to 6 months of expenses and savings. So your expenses, you have to literally brainstorm and write down everything you spend in a month. So whether that's, you know, if you have kids, diapers, milk, you know, groceries for the whole family, gas money, school money, like just anything at all that you know you spend on the monthly, even clothing. If you know that, you know, for next month you have a party and you have to buy this dress, take that into account. My friend does her budgeting very, very precisely, very specifically. And so you write all of that down, you add up all the numbers. Of course, this is an estimate, but please, if anything, overestimate, don't underestimate. So once you write that down, you have to times it by 3 months or by 6 months. It's your preference, what you feel more comfortable with, but that way it's basically another emergency fund. So the $1,000 is just for any quick money, quick emergency that you can dip into, but the 3 to 6 months is something like right now. This is why honestly I'm so happy I'm making this video during this time, because right now people are struggling, and I can say I was one of the first ones that got hit hard with this pandemic. We weren't up to baby step number 3, so we didn't have any of those 3 to 6 months of expenses, and you know, we've basically been struggling, and I know I'm not the only one. You know, this isn't a pity party, we're all going through it. If you guys did have that savings, that's awesome, but if you didn't, this has to be a wake-up call. You guys have to work towards that. So that's why baby step number 3 is so important. You guys don't know what could happen. Of course, this pandemic was like an extreme of that, but even just being fired on the spot, you know, that happens. Being fired on the spot, and while you're looking for work, you don't want your kids to starve. You don't want to starve yourself. You know, you need that money, that income. So being good for 3 months, even up to 6 months, is amazing. Not having to worry, not have to, again, the whole point of these baby steps is to not have to again grab one of these cards and swipe and again get yourself in that pit hole, get yourself in that terrible debt and vicious cycle. That's baby step number 3. So I'm so excited that literally this is the step we're on. And then after that, it's baby step number 4 is invest 15% of your income for retirement. Then step 5, save for college for your children. Step 6, pay off your house. And then step 7, build wealth and give. So of course we all want to get to that step 7. Honestly, we don't all have to follow this precisely, but I do believe that from step 1 to step 3, you for sure have to do it in that order. Now here doesn't specifically talk about like when you should buy your house, when you're ready, but what I could say, I actually recently read an article of Dave Ramsey, and it makes sense. You guys should buy your house, and I'm talking about this because it's actually something we're planning to do. So you guys should buy your house. After you're done with step 3, you guys can give yourself that time to save up for that down payment. Now I personally say, and so does Dave Ramsey, he's the financial expert here, he says try to have the 20%. I know you can have less, but try to have that 20%. You avoid a lot of fees, you avoid getting your mortgage up very high, and it just makes your life easier. So after step 3, knowing that you have your 3 to 6 months of financing, you can start saving up for that home. So save up for your down payment, start looking at houses, start looking at the state you want to live in. Maybe you want to move out of the state that you're recently in, and start calculating how much that down payment would be. Of course, try to calculate the closing costs, all of that. So for your down payment, you know you're ready to buy a house if you feel like you financially are able to pay that mortgage with nobody's help, just on your own. And I know a lot of people, you know, they buy houses, let's say a 3-story house, and you live in one of them and you rent out the other 2 floors. Do not buy a house thinking my tenants are going to pay the mortgage. Even though this is such a great business tactic, don't buy the house knowing that you financially can't afford that mortgage. Because look what's going on now. Tenants can't pay the rent. It's not even legal to force them to pay the rent because they're jobless. And I'm glad that, you know, right now, I don't know the technicalities, but I know that right now they don't have to, I mean, they can't get evicted. So homeowner, even if right now there's like plans with like the mortgage company, the loan company to not pay right now, at the end of the day, the landlord is going to be responsible for the payments, whether or not the tenant gave the rent. That's really none of the bank's business. You took out that loan and you have to make sure that you're able to pay that loan on a monthly basis with your own income. Make sure you have your 3 to 6 months. Why? Because even, like, let's say right now, even if you weren't able to pay that mortgage and you got laid off from work, like right now, if you had 3 to 6 months, you would be able to survive paying your mortgage with those 3 to 6 months. So you can calculate either a rent in the 3 to 6 months or a mortgage payment in the 3 to 6 months. And so once you have those savings, you know, you're set for 6 months of not worrying, oh my god, the tenants haven't paid. Well, that's fine. You take out of your own emergency fund and you're able to pay on your own. So I feel like those are the two number one things. And of course, work on your credit. By step 2, your credit should definitely be going up, because if you got yourself in a dark hole of debt, of course your credit took a turn for the worse. But once you're finishing up step 2, your credit should be looking better. Let's just talk about how we got into debt anyways. I mean, we're very young. Like I just said, I'm 22. He's about to be 27, so he's 26 right now. It's honestly how any young person gets into debt. We started going to shop using a credit card, ¿cierto? Usamos la tarjeta como que si fuera plata gratis. We bought clothes, like as if clothes really mattered, like as if it was worth it. I wish I could give back all those clothes and get back my money.
Se nos hizo fácil gastar. Eliminamos todas las tarjetas.
Yeah, we maxed out.
Eliminamos todas las tarjetas, pero oh my god, estoy feliz porque ya no debemos nada.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
Gracias a Dios y a las personas que nos han dado consejos. Uno se enoja por los consejos que le dan a uno, pero de verdad estos consejos sí ayudan mucho.
We maxed out on all of them.
Pero ahora te voy a dar tu ejemplo. Viene y va a hacer una tarjeta de $1000. Te la vacías. ¿Qué consigues? Estás endeudado. Trabajar para pagar. Porque no te sobra la plata. A mí me pasaba eso.
Yes.
Yo quería los lujos. Eso no te lleva nada bueno. Por ejemplo, yo he aprendido eso. Tu lujo, pero también aguarda, ahorra.
So the cell phones. So you know how when you take out a cell phone, they let you finance it. You know, and I understand it's not interest, but that freaking sucks because you're stuck with a contract. Some of the contracts are not that good. The plans are very high and you have to pay monthly. If you're young and you're watching this, you might have not heard of collections, but collections is when you decide, because I know, like, the reason I'm saying it is because I know people think this way. I know people don't do their research. I know our school system has failed us and did not teach us this at a young age. You know, they taught us geometry, which didn't help us for, I'm sorry, but it didn't help us for yet. You know, like financial stuff we were not taught. So collections is when, let's say, you're swiping, buying, and then you're like, you know what, like right now I don't want to pay. Well, do that 2 or 3 times and you get sent to the collections bureau. And once that's sent to the collections, it messes up your credit completely. After you've been sent to collections, if you don't pay it off, you can get sent to court. We've been sent to collections, and the only reason was because, like, the debt got so overwhelming that we weren't even able to, like, do the minimum payments, pay our rent, pay our light bill, all of that at the same time. Like, it just got so overwhelming. So, and then I'm not gonna lie, like, we were not spending smartly. Like, you know, we were eating out, yet we were in collections, things like that. I would say make sure, even if you could only do the minimum payment, fine, do the minimum payment, but don't do late payments. Don't think, oh, like, I'm just not gonna pay this month, it's fine. It's not fine. You will get sent to collections and you'll mess up your credit. And for you guys who don't know, your credit is such a big deal when you want to finance a car, when you want to take out a loan for anything, for a business, for anything, when you want to have that loan for your house. So your credit is actually so important, and to have it messed up just for a late payment on a card that you spent buying a PS4, buying the new Gucci sandals, buying whatever it was. Thankfully, we never cared about, like, designer, but
porque tu crédito te puede comprar hasta tu casa.
A lot of people don't know
que
that.
Valen. No se endeude. Las personas que nos están viendo, no se endeuden. Eso es horrible. Nosotros nos deprimimos nos pusimos mal, vienen las peleas. Tú estando limpio, ya las cosas te van cambiando poco a poco.
Don't try to start saving if you're in debt. And I know this can sound very sad to people who are very much in debt, but if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense to save while you owe somebody, whether it's the bank, whether it's a person. I mean, of course, like I said, the baby step one, yes, do it. Do that emergency fund. But besides that, why are you holding on to money that's technically not yours? You owe people. So just give back that money to those companies that you owe. And once you're debt free, you can look for those savings that you want. It got to the point where we were literally working just for debt. We were not working to go out on dates. We were not working to, go out and have fun somewhere, to go out with friends. Like, honestly, it got to the point where it was like kind of sad, but my friends would invite me somewhere and I would kind of like have to be like, no, like, sorry. Thankfully I have great friends that are like, oh no, it's fine, like we can just like see each other, and that's great and all. So if you're at that point that you can't even afford like to go out, that's fine. Like, just go out and see your friends, and hopefully you have good enough friends that don't really have to go and do like crazy stuff to have fun. And simple things, like, as we've learned through this pandemic, are amazing. Like a simple walk in the park was taken for granted last year, but hopefully now you guys are realizing that a simple walk in the park is what we need. It's a breath of fresh air. It's that connection, that human connection with others. So while you're on this journey, I'm not saying completely restrict yourself, don't go out at all. No, like, yes, have your little luxury moment maybe once a month, but if you're really trying to get rid of your debt, you're gonna have to restrict yourself for a while and realize it's temporary. Realize that you're working hard to get rid of that debt, and then you can literally breathe. And after that, you already know that your income is for yourself. It's for your savings. It's for, any future projects you want to do. It's for hanging out and doing fun stuff. But when you're working and all of that money goes to debt, it's frustrating. And you really, if you owe, you really should be putting as much money as you can towards that debt. One of the worst things that we could have done was be in debt and still pay the minimum and still waste money as if we weren't in debt. We would go out to expensive restaurants and leave the waitress like a huge tip and like act like we were like bougie, and like, yeah, we had so much debt, but we were going out and about, and that's not okay. Just cherish your money. It's your sweat and tears. You have to cherish it. You have to, it's sacred. Like I said, it doesn't mean you can't have like a little luxury moment, but luxury shouldn't be every freaking day. It should be like a once in a while. My friend, when she told me, like, when you're doing your budget for like the month and stuff, when you're calculating how much is going where, because it's really good to plan out how much you're paying for each card, how much you're gonna, pay for groceries. It's good to calculate out when you have an estimate of how much you get a month. It's good to calculate out your monthly budget so that you can already have a game plan. This money's going here, this money's going here, and you have to be strict with that game plan. If somebody invites you to I don't know, like skydiving or something, and it's like $200, well, you can say no for now because you already have your monthly budget, and you know that within that budget you don't have enough to be doing all these extra stuff. And so what my friend does is that in her budget, she allows herself maybe like $10, for example, to go out and eat. And I know it sounds so little, but it's like, throughout that month that you're trying to pay off your debt, you shouldn't really care about eating out. So those $10 can go towards like a date at McDonald's. I know it sounds so dumb, but you can literally go and eat a McChicken and have that little like taste of like outdoor food, and that's it. It's not that you have to go to freaking Olive Garden and spend all your money. And I mentioned that because that's what we would do. You can get extra hours at your job if you can get a side hustle. I'm actually gonna post a video about what my side hustle became, and it's not like a business thing or anything. It's just something, it's a job that anybody can get, and I'm gonna post about it. it works for people who drive cars, so I'll post my review on that job because it's actually still my current job. I'm gonna talk about that, how he would te quedabas full time sometimes doing extra hours. He would work like 50 hours, 55 hours a week, you know, instead of the 40. He didn't have to work those extra hours, but why did he do it? It was sacrifice to get you through paying those bills. He went to school and worked.
Yo trabajaba y estaba estudiando.
Trabajamos dos cosas.
Sí, y estudiamos, yo también estaba en eso, estudiando y trabajando. Salía a mi trabajo cansado y me iba a estudiar.
It's the sacrifices, guys. Invest your time in things that you need to do, like school and stuff. It all counts. So that's number one. Number two, you don't have to take this tip because even I felt so uncomfortable with this tip, but I'm saying it because one of my close friends told me and she made me feel good about it. Tip number two, you don't have to take it because I even didn't want to take it. I only took this tip because my friend, like, she didn't beg me, but like she told me, like, please do it. And it was if you know somebody close to you, like close that you trust, that years later they're not gonna like humiliate you for it, if you can trust them with that. What I'm saying is, if you can trust somebody and you know that they can lend you, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's $100, $200, $300, and you end up owing them instead of the bank, that's great. Because the friend that offered to do that for me, which I wasn't even like, it was just crazy that she offered to do that. She told me, she was like, girl, I'd rather you owe me that I know you're gonna pay me back than you owing the bank, because you owing the bank is messing up your credit. You owing the bank is gonna take you longer because they're charging you interest, and you owing me is fine because I trust you. I'll give you the time you need to pay me off, and of course I'm not charging interest. It's just a favor. So I know it's very uncomfortable to talk about finances with your friends, your family, but if you do have somebody in your life who maybe is a little bit more well off and who can just, you know, spare a little bit extra bucks so that you could start paying off those cards more and more, I would say do that and write everything down. You know, so and so lend me this, so and so lend me this, and of course be very straightforward. Hey, like, if you do lend me, when do you want me to pay you back, so that there's no problems. And it's not something you necessarily have to do, because I know sometimes mixing like friendships with like financial stuff can go left. But that's why I just did it with one person who I trust with all my heart, and that's it. Tip number three is, if any of the debts are like a huge purchase, like let's say it was like furniture for your house, like something that like accumulated to a couple thousands or like even hundreds, if you can still return it and it wasn't a necessity, girl, return it. I ended up doing that with one of my major cards. It was something that I didn't necessarily need, and I ended up trying to get my money back, and I was able to recuperate $3,000. So that was another way that our debt went down, because I was just able to, you know, change my mind and boom, give it back. So if you're listening to this and maybe yesterday or something you ordered something online, you like splurged with your credit card and now you're getting scared to get into debt, return it. It's always better to buy with cash. One more tip I forgot to mention is, if you are able to live with a family member, like for example, if you are still young, I would recommend to not move out. I know people are always like so quick to move out, but if you're trying to pay off debt or if you're trying to save, it's better to not even have to worry about rent. Or if you do pay rent, your family member will probably not charge you as much as if you lived somewhere all by yourself. So that's another tip. Either find a roommate to lower the, you know, living costs, or live with your parents still, live with a family friend, live with a family member, and that will help so much. Because if you can tackle your debts without having to worry about, you know, a big rent bill, or if you can worry about, you know, saving up for that house without having to worry about rent, it's just all the better. I know a lot of you guys probably like being independent. Trust me, I do too. I lived alone for close to 3 years, I think. And it was great and all, but when you're given the opportunity to, you know, pay less rent, I say take it so that in the long term you can have your house, and in the long term you can pay off that debt. And of course, if you're trying to work on your credit, it's so simple, guys. It's really so simple to get good credit. All you have to do is, for example, I want to buy this video game, and this video game costs $40. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna check your pocket, or you're gonna check your bank account. Oh, do I have $40 to spare? Oh, I have $40 to spare. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna buy it with my credit card. Swipe. Right after, once it's posted, I'm gonna pay off those $40 right away. So what did you do there? You spent your credit card, yet you paid it off. And you paid it off on time, on point. You paid it off in full. Just gonna bump your credit up. So anytime...
Puedes usar tu tarjeta, pero...
sabiendo que tienes la plata. Hay gente que digamos, oh my god, voy a usar mi tarjeta de crédito. Pero it's okay. Mi cheque me llega en 2 semanas. It's okay. Yo voy a tener... No, ¿cómo sabes, sabes que en 2 semanas tu situación no va a cambiar? ¿Cómo sabes que en 2 semanas ya esos $100 que gastaste en ese mueble o lo que sea, cómo sabes que los vas a tener?
Sin querer te botan del trabajo, o sin querer
pasa una emergencia y tu cheque tiene que ir ahora para otra cosa. So ahora debes los 100, pero no solo los 100, debes el interés.
Nosotros queremos nuestro futuro, ¿qué? Comprar nuestra casa, estar bien, invertir, yo sacar mi título de peluquería.
Invertir en cosas que funcionen. Él está invirtiendo en él mismo, que es lo mejor. Los que más muestran son los que menos tienen.
Mejor es ver tu bolsillo lleno y tu cuenta llena que tener tu closet lleno de ropa.
Yo no puedo creerlo todavía.
Feliz porque pagamos ya. Estamos contentos. Ahora vienen nuestras metas, seguir ahorrando y después nuestra casa. Si seguimos esta comunicación de las redes, se van a dar cuenta como uno sale de lo bajo hasta lo...
It can only go up from here.
Yeah.
When you're debt free, that check is líquido. Like that check is straight cash for yourself or whatever you want to do, and hopefully you use it smartly. But when you're debt free, it's like, I can't even imagine, because literally, like I said, just yesterday we paid off everything that was remaining.
Y muy pronto se va a ver una noticia muy buena de algo de ella. Una noticia muy buena.
No vamos a decir más.
Pa'lante siempre. Pa'lante. Hemos perdido mucha plata.
Los intereses es plata perdida. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Let me know if you want any more explanation about what we talked about today, because I know it was very brief. I did want to mention, for anybody that does like watching me every week, my schedule might change, my YouTube schedule. I might only upload Tuesdays and Saturdays now. I'm still gonna try to upload as much as I could. If I can still do 3 times a week, I will. But today I got the good news that I'm gonna be in school full-time. I'm probably taking 6 classes online, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'm very, very grateful and happy. So number 1 priority for me is school right now. So if you guys see that I'm uploading a little bit less, just know that I'm still hustling. It's just behind cameras. I'm gonna really try my best. I love YouTube. I love posting for you guys, and what I could promise is that I will still be consistent. Weekly, you will see something of me for sure. It's just that maybe not as much as before, because 6 classes online is kind of crazy, especially for somebody who has never taken online classes. But cheers to anybody who's doing school during this pandemic. I know a lot of us are going through stuff emotionally, not just financially, but emotionally. And for us to still be, hustling, going to school, it's, you guys deserve a pat on the back. And if nobody tells you congrats, I'm telling you congrats, and you have to congratulate yourself. Celebrate the little milestones in your life. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. Have a productive day. We love you. Stay safe. Ciao.
Estamos felices.
Oh my god, yo todavía no...